Hello again, everybody. It's Eric with Better Every Shave, back today with a razor report. My friends at Pearl have sent me another razor to take a look at. This is the Pearl Classic Safety Razor, and this is the model designated L-55cc. They also add an AB to that, which stands for antique brass. This is in fact a brass handled razor, zamac head, really nice little finish and knurling. Let's take a look. This is my third razor from Pearl, and I can really see how they're give it a premium feel with the packaging. This box is well made, sturdy, had that holographic print there if you noticed on the lid. And inside, they're giving you a nice selection of accessories for the razor. They've got a nice little shaving guide, which is certainly more than just a couple pages. It's actually pretty comprehensive. Well thought out. You've got a cleaning cloth, and this has come with all of my razors, Pearl's including a cleaning cloth. And in this one, they're giving us some blades, and I don't know if they have these made specifically for them, but I've noticed that that's what they've been including with the razors. The Flexi came with Willie's blades, or Willie blades. I think it's Willie's, yeah. And so there's a couple different ones that they're sending out, but I think both brands are ones that they have made for them. So here you see the razor has a couple of their markings on it. They're on the end of the handle as well as the bottom of the handle. The finish is very nice on this. The weight is very nice. I will put up the statistics here on the screen so you can see the weight and length and all that good stuff. The fit and finish, the finish is very good. I didn't see any real blemishes. I'm not inspecting it with a microscope, so I'm sure if I look hard enough at a $24 razor that I'm probably going to find something, but the finish looked very nice to me, very evenly applied, and definitely has that sort of antique look. The blade itself has a little bit of play. It's not tight on the pegs, but it also doesn't rattle around a lot. So fits together pretty well. I like on the bottom of the base plate they have a recessed area for the handle to screw into. I've noticed some of the other razors doing that, and it just gives it an overall finished feel to it instead of the handle just abutting the flat bottom of the plate. All right, so here we are for the shave. Working on about 2 days growth. I'm using Nag Champa from Sterling. I have a sample of both the soap and the aftershave, and along with that I'm using a Yachi bowl with a Jayara 347 bore brush. I'm starting by making a pasty lather, and I start to add water with a syringe, sort of my new process, and sort of go by stages. Add a little bit of water, whip it up, add a little more water, whip it up. And it generally takes me, I don't know, a good 5 minutes or so to do this. And that's what I'd like to end up with, is a nice hydrated lather. And you can see here it's just about where I'd like it. Bore brushes, this one in particular, this is the nicest bore knot that I have. And it is really just a pleasure to use. It's extra soft. Is scritchy enough just to pick up enough soap, and it really does well with bowl lathering. And you can see here I'm making a huge mess, which is, kind of the fun of making a lather, right? And I will say that Nag Champa, I mean, I've had lots of Sterling soaps, but Nag Champa is the strongest smelling soap by Sterling by far that I've ever tried. All right, here we go with the L-55 Classic Safety Razor. I'm using a Tatra blade, Tatra Platinum on its 4th use. So I usually stick with 3 uses, but I figured give this one a shot. The blades tend to get a little smoother, a little less sharp as they go on, which is what you'd expect, but still perform very well. I think my record with a Tatra Platinum blade is around 15 shaves, so 4 was just fine. The feel of this razor on the with the grain pass, there's a lot of blade feel, so there's a pretty sort of blade forward feel to it. And I would say this is even aggressive. And I distinguish between aggressive and efficient. A razor can be very mild and still be efficient, whereas an aggressive razor can be aggressive and not necessarily efficient, although generally aggressive razors are efficient. This one is aggressive and kind of like mid-efficiency. So after that, with the grain pass, there was still a pretty good amount of stubble to deal with. So here with the across the grain, I know a lot of people don't do the across the grain. They just sort of do a two pass with and against the grain. But I find that I actually get rid of a lot of stubble on the across the grain. So I enjoy doing it. And then I also include, this is across the grain for me on my neck. I know for a lot of people that is against the grain, but not for me. So yeah, the razor itself for me is not particularly comfortable. It's not like it's dangerous or it feels bad or anything. It's just for my face. I like efficient yet mild feeling razors. It's just what feels best to my face. It lets me put in a little extra work in areas where I don't get all of the stubble on the first pass, like my cheeks here. I really give it a good try to get it all on these first goes at it, but there's inevitably just a couple spots where I need to go a little bit more. And if it's a really aggressive razor, it starts to get uncomfortable to a point where I don't feel like I can pull off a, very smooth shave because I don't want to go over these areas too much. And if there just happens to be some extra work that needs to be done, then oh well, because the trade-off is I'm going to have a ton of irritation. And a lot of times, I'm willing to trade that irritation for a better shave, for a cleaner shave, simply because the irritation will usually go away pretty quickly. But there are times where, you just push too far and it's just very uncomfortable. So I could see with this razor being able to get myself in trouble with a lot of irritation. I didn't cut myself, so it wasn't like it was aggressive and something I couldn't manage, or that was, again, dangerous in any way, or something that, I would say is, a bad choice. It's just not probably a razor that I would use unless I had maybe a lot of stubble. But there again, with the efficiency versus the aggressiveness, I feel like I have less aggressive razors that are more efficient than this. So I would probably reach for them. But I also really like adjustable razors and single edge razors. So I have lots of choices available to me. And at the end of the day, I'm not sure this is the razor for my face. But I really appreciate that the construction is very good on this. The finish is very good. The quality of the packing materials and the manual shaving guide that they give you. I think there's a lot of value from what you get from this razor, especially again for the price. So I like to finish off my shave with Thayer's, and I have this. It comes in just a little spray bottle. I think maybe it's like 3 ounces. It's lasted me way longer than I expected it to, and I think my wife is even using it now. So good value there. Nag Champa, so here is the aftershave. Again, I mentioned that this is Sterling's strongest scent that I've smelled so far. I like Nag Champa, and so does my family, but it is strong. I mean, you have to be really willing to commit to smelling like Nag Champa, because boy, oh boy, is it just, it's heavy duty. What's interesting is it has that heavy Nag Champa smell to start, but then it dries down and ends up becoming a much softer, more pleasant fragrance after a while. So finish out with my usual Sterling unscented aftershave balm. Love this stuff, non-greasy. It does a great job of moisturizing my skin, but without feeling greasy in the slightest. So final thought on the L-55 is that It's a solidly built product. It comes in nice packaging. It's definitely worth the price, especially if you like an aggressive razor.